Hi, folks. It's Andy Stautz at Stautz Law. I am back talking about fiduciary choices. I just recorded a talk, but it got a little long and there's more to talk about. So, this is about the difference between corporate and personal or individual fiduciaries. So, in my last video, I mentioned that you want to think about the competence of your fiduciary, how they're going to be doing emotionally, you know, kind of whom to choose. And I mentioned that one option is to use a bank or a trust company or an independent fiduciary, and the other option is use a family member or friend. Kind of two big categories. There might be more. That's what I think of. By far the two most common. So the advantage of a family or friend, just a personal fiduciary, is trust, right? You know them. It's inexpensive and informal. I mentioned last time that in probate cases, a lot of times a family member will uh, disclaim. They will turn down the fee that they would ordinarily be entitled to. So that can be nice. If someone just does it for you as a favor, it saves your heirs some money or saves your trust beneficiaries money. The other big option is corporate trustees. The advantages there are they're good at it because they do it a lot. They're going to cross their T's and dot their I's, and they're going to be independent. So that really helps with some of these behavioral trusts. If you're setting up a trust to protect a spendthrift from himself, or you've got an addict or a gambling problem, if you name a family or family member or friend the trustee, they're always going to be in conflict with the beneficiary, right? The beneficiary is always going to be going and saying, wanting, putting pressure on the trustee. A bank or a trust company is going to have a much easier job of saying no and not harming existing relationships by being put in that role of standing between a trust beneficiary and the trust corpus. Now, the downside to family members, of course, is, like I said, emotion, personal relationships, and also it's a big ask emotionally, practically. You don't necessarily know someone in your life who's in a good position to have the time, the expertise to administer a trust for you or to handle your estate. The disadvantage of corporate trustees or professional fiduciaries in general is they're going to be expensive, right? They're not going to waive their fees. So that adds to the administrative cost of a trust. It adds to the expenses of an estate. It can obviously be worth it, but that's a consideration. And some of these, trust companies and banks, there's a minimum for them where they're not going to administer a small, grandchildren trust with $50,000 in it, right? It's not worth their time. So below a certain threshold, you might not even be able to attract an independent professional fiduciary. You gotta be up into a certain level of assets and complexity for that to make sense. So those are kind of the considerations, and like I concluded my last video, it's specific. It's based on your goals, whom you know, whom you trust, what you want to have happen. But it bears thinking about. So do think about it before your initial planning meeting or after, because it's an under considered topic, I think, for most people until they come in and say, "Oh, yeah, big choice of whom to name." So call me when you want to talk. I look forward to working through these problems and coming up with the best plan for you. Thanks, and bye for now.